You know, I remember this one night like it was yesterday sitting in that little greasy spoon joint on the edge of town. The kind of place where the coffee's always burnt and the neon sign buzzes like it's got a grudge against silence, and suddenly, everything just exploded into chaos. I was there, minding my own business. But Emily Harper, the waitress who'd been slinging plates for what felt like forever, she became the center of it all, her hands shaking just a bit as these roughneck locals barged in, acting like they owned the damn world. It started small, but by the time their leader, this guy with a chipped tooth and a chip on his shoulder even bigger, started leering at her, that's when I knew this wasn't just another rowdy Friday. This was personal, rooted in some old beef about the neighborhood changing, new folks moving in, and these guys feeling like their turf was slipping away. Emily was this quiet type, 24 maybe, with that worn-out ponytail and eyes that said she'd seen too much already. Her dad skipped out years ago, left her mom in a wheelchair with medical bills piling up like snow in a blizzard, and Emily? She was the one holding it all together, bussing tables at the Rusty Fork Cafe from dusk till dawn, smiling through the exhaustion because, hell, what else was there? Survival wasn't a choice. It was her daily grind. And in this rundown part of Milford, where factories closed and dreams went with them, the cafe was her lifeline, tips barely covering rent. But it was honest work, and she poured her soul into it, treating every stranger like family even when her arms ached from the trays. But that night, oh man, the air felt heavier from the start. The jukebox crooning some old country tune, a couple of truckers nursing beers at the counter, and old Harold Benson in his usual booth, sipping black coffee like it was the elixir of life at 82, his wrinkled hands steady, but his mind sharp, watching everything unfold with that quiet worry. Then they showed up, 6 of them, these local thugs who'd been stirring trouble for months, ever since the town started gentrifying a bit, new shops popping up, pushing out the old guard, and these guys? They blamed folks like Emily for it. Her being the face of the cafe that refused to bend to their intimidation tactics, like shaking down the owner for protection, money they never intended to provide. They swaggered in, boots thumping like thunder, reeking of cheap whiskey and entitlement, shoving chairs aside and barking orders. Hey, sweetheart, get over here before we make you. Their laughter cutting through the room like a dull knife, crude and mean, aimed right at her dignity. Emily approached with her notepad, voice steady, but I could see the flicker in her eyes. What'll it be, folks? And the leader, let's call him Vince, with that scarred knuckle from too many bar fights, leaned in too close, his breath hot and sour. How about you start with some manners, huh? Or maybe join us for a little fun, slapping the menu against her thigh. The others howling like hyenas, turning her workspace into their playground, mocking her every move, chanting her name like it was a joke, trapping her against the booth with a slide slide, stay put. Doll, we're just getting warmed up. Her heart must have been pounding. Mine sure was. And Harold shifted in his seat, muttering under his breath about calling the cops. But at his age, what could he do against these brutes fueled by resentment over lost jobs and fading power? The cook vanished into the back, phone in hand maybe, but the tension built like a storm cloud. Emily pulling free with a forced smile, retreating behind the counter, her palms pressing flat to steady the shake, whispering to herself that this too would pass. But they weren't done, banging glasses, demanding refills with sneers. Move it, or we'll help ourselves. Their aggression escalating, not just random. No, Vince had a history here. His brother got fired from a nearby mill, blamed the influx of outsiders, like Emily's family, for it. And this was their twisted way of reclaiming control, making her feel small in the one place she felt secure. And just when it felt like the night was spiraling into something ugly, bam, doorbell tinkled, soft at first, but then boots hit the linoleum in this rhythmic thud, and in filed these 30 leather-clad riders, silent as ghosts, their vests patched with skulls and wings, the Nomad Brotherhood they called themselves, a group of bikers who'd been rolling through town for years, not causing trouble but enforcing an unspoken code, especially after one of their own lost a sister to similar harassment in a dive bar upstate. They didn't yell, didn't posture, just spread out, filling booths with this heavy, deliberate calm, jackets creaking, eyes scanning the room without a word. And suddenly the air shifted, the thugs' laughter choking off mid-breath. Emily froze, tray clutched tight, wondering if this was escalation or salvation. But then one of them, this big, bearded guy named Rocco Broad Shoulders, tattoos telling stories of roads less traveled, nodded at her gently. Coffee, ma'am. Whatever you recommend, his voice deep, respectful, like a warm blanket over the chill. It was unreal, the contrast, these bikers treating her like gold. One helping stack plates when her hands were full, another saying thank you for a napkin refill. Small things that built like bricks in a wall, while the thugs simmered, muttering curses but their volume dropping. Vince drumming fingers nervously, glancing at the row of silent giants sipping Joe like it was a ritual. Harold leaned over as Emily passed. Looks like you've got some unlikely allies tonight. And she cracked a tiny smile, the first real one all evening. Relief seeping in as the power flipped, the bikers' presence alone a barrier, their silence screaming louder than any threat. But Vince couldn't let it slide, his ego bruised. Pride tied to dominating this turf slammed his fist down. This is our hangout. Been claiming it for years. Who the hell are you clowns? And Rocco set his mug down slow, eyes locking on. Funny, I don't see your deed on the wall. The room going pin drop quiet, the thugs shifting uneasy. One scoffing, you think you own this joint now? Rocco shaking his head, nah, but she does, pointing to Emily, and you don't get to trash her like yesterday's news. The standoff hung there, thick and electric, the bikers unmoving, their unity of force field, and Vince's crew? They cracked under it, insults flying but hollow now, drinks untouched as the bravado leaked out until Vince stood, voice sharp but wavering, we don't bow to nobodies like you. And Rocco rose taller, presence like a mountain. Then bow to your mirror. Leave like men. Or stay and prove you're more than bullies hiding behind numbers. Outside, engines rumbled, more bikers pulling up, late but solid, and Vince cursed, motioning his guys out, slinking away into the night. Emily's shoulders finally dropping, a weight lifting as she realized she wasn't just serving tables. She was worth the fight. Her inner strength sparking from their quiet defense. But hold on, it wasn't over just past midnight. Headlights flared, engines revving, not bikes this time, but cars. The thugs back with reinforcements, double the crew, storming and angrier. Vince shouting, think you can humiliate us? We'll burn this place down. Fueled by that deep-seated rage over the neighborhood's shift, seeing the bikers as symbols of everything they hated, outsiders meddling. Emily's rag slipped from her hand, Harold whispering a quick prayer, but the bikers? They rose as one. No panic, just steady resolve. Stay back. Rocco's voice calm as they lined up, silence amplifying the tension. The thugs crowded the counter, noise peaking, but then a biker pulled out not a knife, but a crisp bill, laying it down. Coffee for the house, and one by one, they stacked cash, paying for strangers' meals, generosity hitting like a gut punch, disarming the fury because fear thrives on chaos, not kindness. Vince's face twisted. What the hell is this? But the sight of 30 men united in quiet power left him floundering, their acts of goodwill louder than shouts. And as sirens wailed in the distance, some trucker outside must have called. Vince spat. This ain't over. But it was, his crew backing out into flashing lights, swallowed by the cops. The bikers sat back down, casual as ever, Emily leaning on the counter, tears welling not from fear but gratitude, realizing strength wasn't about swinging fists, it was standing firm, silent command rewriting the rules. Rocco caught her eye. You good? And she nodded, voice soft, thanks to all of you. Another biker chiming in gentle, don't thank us. We don't let good folks get trampled, not family, not strangers. Dawn crept in, gilding the cafe, Emily pouring fresh pots with steadier hands. Customers nodding respect now, Harold raising his mug, to Emily, the bikers joining in unison, her cheeks flushing with pride, not shame. Rocco slipped 100 under his cup, for your mom's meds, knowing somehow, from overhearing whispers maybe, and she protested but tucked it away, eyes wide. As they filed out, engines firing like a symphony, Emily watched from the door, the weight of bills and worries lighter, Rocco glancing back, respect's yours to keep. Don't let him steal it. And they rolled off, fading into the horizon, leaving the cafe quieter but fuller, her reflection in the chrome a bit sharper, braver. Word spread like wildfire, folks in barbershops and corner stores whispering about the night the bikers stood for a waitress, turning it into legend. Reporters sniffing around, but Emily waved him off. She wanted peace, not spotlight. Customers tipped better, strangers offered kind words. Even the cook grumbled, "Proud of ya, kid." And at home, her mom listened to the tale, tears flowing. "You're tougher than you think," Emily believing it now, resolve hardening. Weeks blurred, but the echo lingered, every door chime a reminder. In one rainy eve, it chimed again, Rocco in the doorway, dripping coffee and pie, relief washing over her like sun after storm, pouring his cup on the house, him raising a brow. "Fair's fair. You stood tall," her smiling, "because you showed me how." Words few after that, his silence enough. Months on, her mom passed quiet, grief hitting hard but strength holding, the funeral packed with townsfolk in there. In back, bikers with helmets tucked, Rocco bowing, his head silent, steadying her more than speeches. Outside, engines rumbled, "Find a promise," brotherhood showing when it counted. Seasons turned. Emily stayed at the cafe, but transformed the booths, now echoes of protection, rowdy patrons self-correcting, the story living on whispered, a waitress, thugs, and the silence of 30 writers. She kept that bill folded in her pocket, a talisman, strength and presence, not noise. And walking home under stars, she'd whisper thanks into the quiet, knowing dignity's ironclad, defended by loyalty. But here's the thing that sticks with me. Makes you wonder, was it justice? Or just vigilantes playing hero? Those bikers stepped in where cops lagged, but what if it escalated? Right or wrong? It changed her, proved communities got layers, some rough, some golden. What do you think? Should folks take matters into their own hands like that, or wait for the system? Drop a comment below, share your take on justice in tight-knit towns, hit like if this hit home, subscribe for more real-life tales of grit and grace, and let's chat. Your stories might inspire the next one.